Okay, so I am aware of Supercell's recent response to feedback, and let me just say, that's great of them to do. It takes a lot of courage to face such a large player base and to admit their miscalculations, and it does please me to know that they are trying to prioritize fixing Clan Wars 2 as soon as possible in the next update. That said, however, I felt that I needed to clearly state that some of the ideas or solutions that I may toss around later in the video were in fact drafted out and fleshed out pretty well long before I even caught wind of the response post, so I'm just a bit slow on the video production here. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Hey, what's up everyone? So Clan Wars 2 is finally here, and what do we have to show for it? A slightly worse off version of Clan Wars 1 with game modes that could have literally been stuck onto the old Collection Day Island list of games. Nicely done, guys.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Okay, but in all seriousness, there's more to it than just that. Clash Royale as a game has always been something that I love playing, and it's one of the few mobile games that I've never been able to stop playing altogether, as it kept evolving over the years through the addition of new cards bringing new mechanics and dynamics to the game, as well as all sorts of new game modes that we may enjoy from time to time, like the old classic deck game modes from Clan Wars 1 to some of the other exciting events like Touchdown.
So that was a lie.
Okay, I'm just kidding about the touchdown part, that was pretty bad, so forgive me for the cheap shot there. But yeah, this game is one which has appealed to many of us at one point, where we'd actively play a bit, trying to get to that next level, and through some past updates, progression as a whole did get a lot easier when things like trade tokens and Epic Sunday were added, as well as the gradual injection of gold into the game's economy. Lots of changes that I can't recall all of them, but for those of you who know, you know. So in this video, I'm aiming to give my honest opinion of the update as far as I have seen it so far, and my predictions or wishlist for it. As a reminder, I will state again for the record that this is not a hate video or something to bash the devs of the game, so don't take my criticisms too harshly. I still love the game and I do intend to keep playing it, hopefully more as things keep improving. So, the elephant in the room, let's get that out of the way. A lot of people are not pleased with how the update has kicked off so far. It was advertised as a major update to the game, and some might even say that the app icon changing was the biggest part of that there. Okay, so jokes aside, I do think that it's neat that they finally gave it a touch up after all this time, so good job there, guys. So diving into things, we were told that Clan Wars 2 was gonna be the single best place to work towards maxing out for all players, so sure enough, if you look over the rewards offered for competing over the river tasks and competing in leagues, etc., the rewards definitely do stack up compared to Clan Wars 1, with more regular legendary cards available, assuming of course that you can land first place every time for a guaranteed drop every week. This, in combination with the consolidation of the daily login rewards being put into one single reward that you can claim in the shop, was pretty nice, especially considering just how much the gold and gem rewards you can claim has been scaled up from the previous version of the game. I'm not gonna go into specifics of this because OJ has already covered that in a video of his recently, which I will link in the description down below, but if you'd rather read, then take a look at the Reddit post for info, which I also have linked in the description down below. Now let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this. So on the surface, things seem fine with the update until you actually start playing it yourself. The whole idea of fame from battles won or lost is great, don't get me wrong there, but the fact that your levels have a direct influence on how much rep you can get, whether it's a win or a loss, is complete BS to me. If you take a step back to look at how you have to work towards the best prizes in war, you will see something is seriously wrong here. First off, you need to be in a clan that has a lot of members, and all of these members have got to be actively playing every day for your clan to move much in the river race. If your clan is struggling right now, you should be able to have better matches in the long run when clans find their proper leagues, right? Well, yes, but actually no. Clan leagues and their divisions will definitely have some impact on matchmaking if given enough time, but not enough to make it as fair as possible. For example, there may always be some strong clans with very weak players who will struggle in matchmaking. Just make them do both repairs, I hear you say. Easy, right? Well, not really. We'll touch on that a bit more later. Now the opposite of this is a problem which will not change no matter how much time passes. For whatever reason, there will tend to be some stronger players in lower level clans, so even if the clans do have time to find the right league divisions for them, these over leveled players will still find themselves in lower league matches, bullying the weaker players left and right if they just suck at the game and have not much skill to go with it, along with very slow progression for their clan in general. If, the other players aren't doing so hot themselves, the clan can't really go forward to, make the matches more fair for everyone. But still, if you want everyone to enjoy playing wars, you have to balance the matchmaking at both the top and bottom of the rankings. Now back to what I was saying about the boat repairs. So we were told that if we had a strong clan with weaker members, they can still repair the boat with their battles, right? Well, sure, that's nice and all, but is it really fulfilling to do? Not quite. For those doing boat repairs, the only reward obtained there is the repair points for your boat, not even a little bit of gold for the players sacrificing their daily battles on repairs. It's a bit lackluster that you simply just use up your battles and effectively gain nothing then. I feel as though a more engaging activity would be some sort of 1v1 at tournament standard battles versus the AI, so that lower level players have some more stimulation and maybe depending on how well they perform, they can get more repair points for the boat and a reward of gold to scale with their performance. Also, with the idea of getting a boat shield, I feel that the repair dock could be further utilized if there was an option for members to grind towards maybe building up something like a temporary shield in a similar manner where the players would battle the AI or maybe even other players at tournament standard for gold rewards and points towards a shield. This shield would last for a few hours at best, so basically anyone who is assigned the boatyard duties can still farm every day and feel a sense of both reward and fulfillment for actively helping their clan in a meaningful way. Now, this wasn't going to be on my list of things to say originally, but another pretty stupid issue that I realized today, at least at the point in time where I was scripting this video, is that people ahead of you can still sabotage your boat. Now, this is fine and all for the actual duration of the race, don't get me wrong there, but from what I was able to tell while writing this, one clan who had already crossed the finish line of the race was way ahead of my clan, and unfortunately we were in dead last at the time. In fact, basically everyone was already across the finish line, so we weren't any threat to anyone at all. So literally everyone has finished the race and we were the only ones trying to cross at the time. So tell me, what even is the point of being able to sink us at that point in time when the race is effectively over for us and the rewards for everyone else was already locked in? It just seems kind of mean to do, honestly, and if you're doing this to others, please do reconsider. It really wouldn't be pleasant to experience yourself. Trust me on this. So back to the other elephant in the room, the level caps, or more accurately, the lack thereof. I know that Clan Wars 2 is a vehicle for progression for all and provides ample rewards, but it is quite miserable to have zero opportunities to have tournament standard battles anymore. I know it took them quite a bit of time to incorporate this even into Clan Wars 1 for those of you who can recall, but knowing how the players reacted then, we should have had at least one game mode in which we can do tournament standard battles. My proposal for this would be to put a cap on the dual game mode, because if you're gonna be battling and get paired against someone who has many max cards, odds are that you're gonna get completely demolished because that same person that you're playing against may have more than one fully maxed out deck versus your halfway maxed out decks if they're even that strong. So the duel is basically locked in most of the time from the moment your opponent is determined, and that really sucks. As is, the better choice for using up your battles would be to do regular 1v1s for you to have the chance to not go against the same players back to back who will have multiple max decks, as pointed out by my clanmate Chinil. Now, with that being said, ironically, I was able to do a best of 3 against someone in the 1v1 game mode, and I did still lose 2 out of 3 matches because of my levels not being the best, and this is on my main account, which has my best levels. So yeah, you can see that this is a problem not just for newer players but even some of the older veterans as well, unless you're a cash whale who has multiple maxed out decks or something. Yeah, this update pretty much sucks, dude. So, as we know already, this update greatly incentivizes players to find much larger and active clans. This by itself, totally fine. The problem, however, now is that with the way matchmaking works and stuff, you are always, and I mean always, gonna be at a major disadvantage in a smaller clan, even if you do qualify to be in a war. Why do I mention this? Well, for one, it makes it that much more difficult for you to recruit for your clan when you can barely compete in any war in general. Why should I as a player join a small random clan for wars when I can just easily join a large chain of clans that have long established themselves with competitive teams and, you know, the whole works? So this honestly just kind of spells the death of smaller clans to me, and if you think I am wrong, just look at how wars worked in Clan Wars 1 versus Clan Wars 2. In Clan Wars 1, you can still get matched with other clans that had similar numbers of members who chose to be a part of that war. Even if it wasn't perfect, at least then you had the chance to do extra battles to help make up for your disadvantage in numbers, but for Clan Wars 2, we have no such insurance policy to help even the playing field even a little. Supercell devs, we need to ensure that matchmaking between the competing clans themselves in a race is more fair. There is no accounting for members of a clan in this version, and by extension, no consideration for the members who are inactive for whatever reasons. Sure, slackers don't get rewards, but it actively hurts the rest of the clan too, being unable to compete as much. And it's not like kicking anyone who is busy or otherwise inactive is going to change a darn thing. The whole war system is a huge grind fest, which might be great on paper with the buffed rewards, but from what I was told by fellow clanmates, no one actively made the choice to start the war this time around, and from what I'm seeing as these other weeks went by, the war kept starting automatically. So yeah, make of that what you will. So if this holds true for the future, this means that there is no longer any room for a breather from war for anyone playing the game, and you just have to keep on that active grind every single day until you eventually burn out and probably quit or go on an extended hiatus. So yeah, to summarize, if you want to quote-unquote enjoy Clan Wars 2, you have to 1. Be in a large active clan, 2. You have to be very high leveled and leave your current clan and friends to find a clan that is more suited to your levels when the divisions settle. Alternatively, you can accept the inevitable defeat that you're going to face every single day endlessly for a significant period of time until you probably decide to quit the game due to a lack of sense of accomplishment when grinding to upgrade as a very low level player in a good clan. And number 3, you can play 4 battles every day non-stop without rest, or else you're hurting your clan that you're in. The idea of getting fame from battles is definitely great, no arguments there, but the problem, however, lies within the fact that your levels directly impact just how much you stand to gain whether you win or lose in a given match. So basically, you and your opponents, both in the river race as well as those opponents you face during a match, are all competing for varying levels of fame that is not consistent unless of course you've already got all your cards maxed out. Previously, in Clan Wars 1, the number of cards a clan member can earn for his or her clan would depend on their ladder rankings as well as the clan's overall league. This made way more sense than what we have right now, but all in all, having these disparities of how much fame each person can get, whether we use the current system which measures levels or the past one which factored in your ladder progression, it should not be the case that anyone battling in wars should be competing for different prizes. We should have set figures for winning and losing so that no one is at a disadvantage in any scenario when it comes to the sheer ability to win or lose matches. I really hope that things get changed in the next update as well, because it gives clans with max players too much potential to work with and cripples lower level clans and their chances to claw their way up through each war race and having to already deal with the issues of member count and activity, which is more than a handful to deal with. There's only so much we can do for the smaller clans we have, and it's not as simple as just being stricter and more diligent in recruiting. Anyways, there are some lesser things going on which I also think need some addressing. I'm not sure how many of you this affected, but one issue I personally suffered from was an audio bug. At least I think it was a bug in which after the first round of one match was over in the dual game mode, the overtime music sounds from the first match did not get reset. So it kept simply playing, which was actually a bit disorienting for me because I've always used these audio cues to help pace myself accordingly, and hearing that overtime music playing at the wrong moments completely messed up my reasoning and made me more sloppy in plays, as I was internally panicking about this one push that my opponent was making, completely forgetting that it was still in regulation time so I could at least tower trade at the time, etc. I doubt this affected just myself alone, so if you had this issue, do let me know in the comments. And aside from that, there was also the issue of players losing gems due to the Q chest and unlock buttons being swapped accidentally in the new UI. Again, like I said before folks, this video was drafted out much earlier before the response post was made, and I heard that people were reimbursed gems for the first chest that they accidentally gemmed on, so that's pretty good of them to do, honestly. Thumbs up to you, Supercell staff. So I know I've been hitting on some pressure points here for the update critique and not giving it as much praise, but again I will say I still love the game, and I am just doing this to highlight some of the issues for the devs to take note of and hopefully resolve the situation sometime soon. I do in fact love most of this update on a conceptual level. It's merely the execution that could have been done much better, considering the 2-year wait time roughly that everyone tends to rant about when expressing their dissatisfaction with the update on different platforms like Reddit and Twitter. Oh, and remember when I said that there's gonna be an issue with some people accepting defeat a lot over a long time? Well, I know that they were trying to be inclusive by giving rewards to people who don't win matches, but technically speaking, players without any ambition could just press the battle button and not actually play for free fame and gold if they don't wish to put in the effort of actually, just trying, just saying. Like I described earlier, burnout is gonna be a real issue very soon. It's cool that there is a build-up to the Coliseum battles, but if my assumption about wars being automatically started and that they continue going forward, there's really no room for a break for a clan or its members, since there is no opting out of war without hurting your clan significantly in the process. This creates a lot of social issues among clan management and members for any given clan, and it is honestly saddening, since you could at least just not join a war previously and not affect the war itself outside of the collection of cards. The final issue that I have with this update is that there is no option to not take part in clan wars really when it comes to the clan itself, and not just the individuals failing to complete any battles. I recently logged onto my level 1 account clan, which was previously in Legendary League clan in Clan Wars 1 that had been closed, and I saw that it was actually still being counted in a war despite there being no one who's in the clan having logged into their accounts in a fat minute. This means that any clans you had prior will be guaranteed to continuously dip in trophies unless players are there actually grinding all the time, lest your clan be reset to 0 trophies inevitably if left alone. I find that to be a bit absurd, giving us no room for pause. People won't always be willing to play the game every single day of their lives, even if it's just for a brief moment of their time, and they certainly don't deserve to suffer a loss in trophies if their clan was choosing not to do war. There may be some other issues which I am currently unaware of at the moment, but if you know anything that I did not list here, then please do drop a comment to let me know about what other issues are plaguing the game right now with this update, whether it be a bug or just something that the Supercell staff overlooked when planning out this update. So, I'm not a game dev myself, and I am no genius, but I do have some thoughts on what could possibly aid in making Clan Wars 2 somewhat better. I might not have answers to all of the concerns that I have raised, but I do have a few which I think might be very applicable for the team to pull off if some time was spent on them. So, my first suggestion is concerning the length or duration of war periods. I think first of all, the time it takes to get to the Colosseum should maybe cut down to 2 weeks probably, since the tasks are basically the same every single week. You just refresh, you do more duels or 1v1s, you play a race, repair the boat, etc, etc. It's basically the same thing every single week until we see whatever the heck these Colosseum battles are going to be exactly like. So, my first suggestion is concerning the length or duration of war periods. I think first off, the time that it takes to get to the Colosseum maybe should be either cut down to 2 weeks, or at least clans that don't wish to compete in the Colosseum battles can just have the option to do war for a week or two and then just simply not start another until they are ready to do so, while those who do wish to be in the Colosseum should have to take part in maybe 2 or 3 weeks of war to get qualified, along with being in either maybe first, second or third in that time at least once during their river races. Because basically every single week you have the same set of tasks. You do your duels, 1v1s, you attack other boats, you repair your boat. It's the same single thing for an entire month, and then you just have 1 week in the Colosseum, which we have no idea what the gameplay is going to be like at that point in time. So, it's not perfect, but I think some of you might get what I'm trying to say here, and if not, comment about it and I will try my best to explain it better if possible. If someone else has already asked this question and I answered it better, I will just reference that comment or copy paste the details to you in a response to anyone else asking for clarification later on. Next up, I think that the matchmaking between clans that are competing on the river race should only be based on those who choose to get this opt into war by clicking a registration or confirmation button of sorts. This would help ease the issue of clans being held back by those who are unable to play or otherwise are inactive without causing any social issues among clan members, so there is a more fair means of competing against all the other clans encountered, since otherwise everyone doing their battles every day and even winning them may not be enough to even make a difference if there is just more people in the other clans that are actively playing, whether they're winning or losing. Thirdly, I believe that the matchmaking between individuals needs serious work. I'm pretty sure that I gave this idea in a past video, but I will mention it again now in case you haven't heard of it yet. Basically, I think that if your levels are not going to be capped in war battles of any kind, then we should at least have our personal levels considered more closely when determining our opponents. I'm told in Clash of Clans, the matchmaking algorithm starts off first by trying to find people with a similar Town Hall level, then gradually changing the parameters over time to include higher level opponents if a certain amount of time passes when searching for opponent with no luck. I think we can do the same sort of thing here in Clash Royale, but instead of looking at our King Tower levels, we can maybe look at having some sort of a point system running in the background which assigns a score to the cards in our decks and use that score to help match us against someone with a similar score. So we're basically power scaling here, and someone with a power scale that closely matches ours will be our first candidate for an opponent. And if no one else is like that in matchmaking queues right now, well, they'll expand the parameters and maybe face someone with either a higher score than you or a lower score, but the first priority will be someone who has an identical score to yours. So let me just explain myself a little better. So basically, if every level a card had was 1 point and I had something like, I don't know, a score of 80, having all of my cards be level 10, I can match against an opponent who has a similar deck score, give or take a level. In this case, my opponent can maybe have a mix of levels, with some cards being level 11, others being less, but the score generally will still add up to the same total as mine does. If after a certain amount of time during the match search where I'm unable to be paired with someone who has a similar score, then the parameters can then be expanded, a bit more so that I can fight either someone a little stronger or weaker, like I said before. That's basically all I think is needed for a more fair matchmaking system in War if they can't give us level caps. Maybe with a few other things to consider when expanding the parameters for matchmaking, such as your current Clan War League standing, and who knows, if things get really dicey, would it actually hurt if we mixed opponents in from other places in the game to match us more accurately, such as ladder? I mean, this is where things can get a little more controversial and kind of messy, but would it really be so bad to have someone who is playing ladder to do a 1v1 match against someone who is doing a regular 1v1 battle in Clan Wars? I mean, functionally speaking, there is literally no difference between the two avenues aside from where the player clicked the battle button. And if CWA's suggestion on duels somehow making their way onto ranked gameplay on ladder gets implemented, then we can do this for duels also. Another suggestion which I have, albeit a more practical one at that, would be to use the concept of card level boosting from ladder and challenges, but take it to the next level and boost an entire deck that a player is going to be choosing for themselves during the duration of the war or even the month, depending on how things are. For context, we have 4 battle decks in a given war, and as this meme kind of clearly shows, by the time most players get around to building their 4th deck, it is pretty trashy based on both the selection of cards in general and also the levels. If we had the option to boost the levels of an entire deck slot worth of cards, then we could eliminate this problem for players who barely have more than one deck maxed out. And if Supercell wanted to monetize this concept, then they could simply offer one max deck slot for free pass users and then maybe have 2 or as many more as they see fit for those who have purchased the premium pass. This does not influence ladder matches at all unless something similar is done for that aspect of the game, so there really isn't any impact on the players' need to upgrade their cards in general, at least for the vast majority of players, since we all know incentives in the form of microtransactions to speed up progression are what helps keep the income going for the company, and it would in fact boost sales of the season pass, I think, if multiple max deck slots were offered for premium pass players. So I know that this has been a rather lengthy video at this point, but I do hope that you all can understand the points that I've raised and maybe some of them would have resonated with you as well. Do let me know your thoughts on my ideas and shoot me any ideas you may have of your own in the comments down below for possible future videos. Also, I don't post a lot of content, I know this very well, but your support does mean a lot to me. I don't have a lot of active viewers on my videos, so if you enjoy the content that I am making, then do us both a favor, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so when I do put out something, you know when it goes up. It's free and you can always unsubscribe if you change your mind after. Anyways, that's all for this video, so I hope to catch you all in my next one. Have yourselves a great day and peace out.